Hello, everybody. This is Diane dDTalks, the host of this show. We are live for another edition of dDTalks. Today, we're talking cultural diversity, and if you know anything about culture, then you know America is the land of diversity. We have the melting pot where everybody communes from all over the world, different continents, different stories, different ethnicities, but we are all here for a common objective. We are all looking for greener pastures. We all want more out of life, and that's why most people are here in America, the land of milk and honey, the land of opportunity. But today, there are so many things that are not really embracing the cultural diversities in America, although we have other things that are evolving and being more embracing, but we're still facing other issues. Today with me in the studio is a young lady who knows a lot about cultural awareness. She has written a book, she's authored a book precisely called Cultural Awareness, a strategy that can influence your journey to success. It is my privilege to welcome to the studio this young girl all the way from Delaware, Dr. Eunice Gwanmesia. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much, Lady D, aka dDTalks and Ma Diane. I am so honored and humbled to be with you this evening. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for doing all you do to better your communities, trying to encourage as many and inspire business owners to be on your show, and just simply for building better communities. I really admire you, and you're a true inspiration, and I just pray that God may continue to guide you and protect you to do more for your communities. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. I love having you in the studios. I feel truly honored because you are such a force to reckon with. By the way, Dr. Eunice Gwanmesia is a life coach. She's a nurse, educator, a public speaker, and like I just said, an author as well, to her credit. Right? So, I mean, this book, I read it, and it is so rich in content. It's an easy read, but so rich in content. Let's talk a little bit let's delve into the book first of all.
Okay. Awesome.
Why did you title the book Cultural Awareness? I know there's more to it, but I just really want, what caught your attention to that? Like, what spoke to you about this book?
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that question. This may sound rather odd, but I wrote this book with no intentions of what I was going to call the book. And after the book was written, I went back and forth with so many titles with the publisher because I really wanted it to get the message across. So I wrote the book before the title, which is not the normal way of doing things. So the reason I titled it Cultural Awareness, a strategy that can influence your journey to success, is because of the journey I have traveled. I take cultural competency, cultural awareness, diversity and inclusion dear and near to my heart.
Absolutely.
So with the journey that I have traveled, I have seemed to have to prove myself in everything I have done, be it my career or my life in general. So I really decided that this was where I wanted to leave my legacy. Is diversity, is inclusion, because if the world we could start really understanding, we're not asking anybody to be culturally competent, because cultural competency is a process.
It's another whole different
It's
subject,
not an
really.
end point. So by being culturally aware, you start to begin to understand why some people behave the way they behave, why they have some certain values and beliefs, and as a result, you can better connect with them, communicate better with them. And I use an example of when I first came to this country in the United States. When I came here, I left Cameroon and went through Canada because I had failed after being at the University of Yaoundé for 2 years. So I spent a lot of time grieving, but I quickly realized one thing my father always taught us: if you have a problem, you must look at yourself in the mirror, and the solution to that problem begins with you.
Absolutely.
So I had to get out of my pity party. Thank God for the parents that I had. I never had it in my radar that my parents could afford an education overseas. So because they did not want their first daughter to fail, they helped me sell a piece of property and found a way for me to move to Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada. From Canada, I was determined that I will never ever fail in life. So I successfully completed my diploma in dental therapy. But after working for 10 months, I asked myself, is this what I'm going to settle for, a diploma?
Right.
It was not good enough. Under frigid temperatures, below 50, heavy parkas, boots in the Rankin Inlet in the Northwest Territories of Canada.
You know how cold Canada is.
How cold, extremely cold. So I decided I was going to move to the United States in search of the American dream, because I know there was no Cameroonian dream, and there certainly was no Canadian dream. So I would move here, but then I had to relearn.
Like those dreams were not there for you.
They
you
were
couldn't
not there for
see
me.
it
I
at
could
the
not
time.
see it.
Yes.
I could not see it. So I had to start life all over, starting to go through the culture shock, learning how to do the basic things in life, sometimes just what is socially acceptable. So I said, wow. But thank God, my boyfriend back then, now my husband, said, why don't you go to do your CNA? I said, is that because every foreigner does CNA and nursing? He said, no, you just seem very caring. So I said, okay, let me give it a try, because I could not afford to go to dental school. So I went ahead and did a 4-week CNA training in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I liked it. So I started working. The downside to that was taking the train to downtown DC. I never liked that.
Right.
The crowd was too much for me. It was
So you were doing that from Delaware to...
No, when I moved here, I first lived in Silver Spring.
You were here. Okay.
I lived in Silver Spring before I moved to Delaware. So I did that for a couple months, and I was like, this is not my area. It was too busy for me. So I moved to Delaware, and of course decided CNA was just not what I was going to settle for.
Right.
I went into a BSN program and successfully completed that. And after working in the intensive care unit for, I would say, 98 to 2003, no, 2002 is when I enrolled in the master's program. And I decided that I needed some more again. So I would enroll in my master's program, 2 masters at the same time.
Wow.
A Master of Science in Nursing and a Master of Science in Healthcare Administration. Successfully completed that, and then I went into teaching. But what I want the audience to know is this. When I moved to Delaware, even all of these educational process that I went through, I was still working as a CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant. And one day before I even earned my job as a CNA, I met a friend and I was having a conversation with her. And I said, I'm going to this particular hospital to put in an application. And the first thing out of her mouth was this, oh, don't even waste your time.
Wow.
They're not going to take you because you have an accent, you're an immigrant,
you're already, wow.
and that you're black. So this particular hospital will not give you a job.
Oh my God. So here you were an overly zealous student, trying to, just excited about your career, and someone at the first go tells you wouldn't get it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So you can imagine that was my peak moment right there. I was like, okay, this is a teachable moment. And I said to this young lady, I said, one thing that I know for a fact is no one is going to tell me what to do and when to do it.
Absolutely.
So I said, I am going to apply to that hospital, and I truly
Defy
have the requirements. They will have to tell me why I did not qualify for that position. And I did the next day.
Go get her.
And 4 hours later, I was called for an interview.
Wow.
I got the job, and I've worked for that particular institution for 15 years.
No way.
But this is the lesson learned. What if I had not taken that step?
Wow.
They say what? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
One step.
And if I had not done it, this institution paid for my education, my BSN and my 2 master's degrees. I only paid $800 out of pocket, tuition reimbursement. But this could have been my dreams shattered at that point. So the thing is, we all have to be our own guard.
Absolutely.
We have to listen deep down into our souls. Because this person maybe meant well, maybe that was her experience, but that's not my experience. You still have to go for what you believe.
Absolutely.
And whatever challenges you made along the way is just what God had decided it would be.
Right.
It's teaching you some lessons to be a better person tomorrow, to get more opportunities. When people say, oh, they told me no, no simply means what? Next opportunity.
I know, and I think there's one of the things that you mentioned in the book, say turn your differences to assets.
Yes, absolutely.
It's one of the highlights that you said.
Yes.
So the fact that you're different is actually a good thing.
It's a good thing.
You just have to find what is it about my difference that makes me unique.
Yes.
And it's that uniqueness that makes you stand out.
Yes.
A lot of times we're trying to hide our differences.
Yes, absolutely.
Meanwhile, the very thing that you're trying to hide is the very thing that should put you
Out there.
out there.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know, so
yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that's a really brilliant story, because a lot of us hear that negativity. There's always somebody trying to tell you, trying to put in their fear,
Yes.
trying to plant their insecurity.
Yes.
They were scared, and it's not because sometimes they're not even qualified. It's just because they assume that because I am this, because I am different, I'm not gonna get it.
Yes, absolutely.
You buy into the notion that you're less. And I don't know where that comes from. I think maybe also comes from this colonial theory where you've been trained to understand that there are other people that are always better than you.
Yeah, yeah.
And therefore, even when you're put in a pedestal, in a platform where you're an equal, you still submit to the notion that you're not.
Yeah, no.
Matter of fact, you put yourself in that position. And I think, you know, rising, overcoming that, and proving to the contrary. So not only have you now excelled, you know, finished that errand, you've done your BS and 2 masters, and now you just recently graduated as a PhD holder.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations for that.
Thank you, thank you.
And I must say that having that degree, that PhD, that doctorate degree for her, did not come easy.
Not at all.
You know, I think to me what struck me the most, not only do I know you on a personal level, but to see it captured in words in this book, right? The story, the narrative of the challenges, the things, the bridges that you had to overcome to get to where you are today. You definitely do not look like the storm that you had to go through. You know that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
I mean, there's a particular chapter, and I had to really bookmark it. Like, if you permit me to go a little bit personal.
Sure.
Because I think that's the essence of your story.
Yes.
You know, I think in one of the chapters you really talk about your personal, which is very intimate. And the reason I want to highlight that is because this is a story that is a lot of women go through, but sometimes we don't have the platform to really share those narratives. And it's really about, you know, I think when on page 17, for those who have the book, it says, over the years I have suffered, you know, you talk, it really opens up with saying, I've had a few months, I was a few months pregnant when I married my husband. When we came back from our honeymoon, I suffered my first miscarriage. Over the years, I suffered an additional 4 miscarriages and 1 full-term stillborn son.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're talking about 5 losses for a young woman just newly married.
Yeah.
I know that is traumatizing for any woman. But for you to have written this, I feel that you have obviously passed the pace, you know, where you got over that grief, and God has turned that story around. When they say all things work together for your good.
Yeah.
But I wanted to share a little bit, like there are places where you talk about you were upset with God, you know, you question life and all of that. If you could share a little bit of that, because there are people, I know there's someone out there who has probably gone through only one of those incidents. But here you are, you've gone through 5.
Yeah.
And you're standing strong.
Yeah.
And still going on with life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Please speak to that a little bit.
Yes, thank you very much. And you know, in nursing we talk about the grieving process, and when I read about it, teach it, talk about it, sometimes you don't realize that you yourself, you're going to go through it one day.
Right.
And before I wrote this book, I never talked about my miscarriages and you know, my challenges with childbirth. But I kid you not, having faith will do it for you. There were times, like I said, I never talked about it, but when you sit back and really reflect, the ones that you have lost and the ones that you hold on to, sometimes you got to decide, am I going to grieve the ones that have gone ahead, or am I going to take care of the ones that I have?
Yes.
Because despite the losses, despite the losses, I have 2 most beautiful children. People laugh at me because I said the world has not yet seen such beautiful children.
If you have been through your story, are you kidding me?
You know, so
people call their child unbeautiful.
Exactly.
Wow.
And for one of them, it was so busy. Keith was born with a lot of challenges.
Right.
They're 5 years apart, and I don't even know how I did it. It's just God.
Yes.
Because from 5 days old, he visited the children's hospital 3 days a week, up till maybe the last 4 years or so.
My God.
So from his bilateral club feet with surgeries and cast to where his dad will have to shave it the night before. We'll take him for a new cast because they cannot use the saw knife on a baby's feet. So we have to literally use a blade, razor blade, and cut the cast. And you know how strong that is. So we did that 3 times a week. Take him up. He had multiple surgeries from brain surgery. But I think the lesson that I took from this again, and I'll go back to it, is you don't give up. You have to know your purpose. This is why at 17 and a half weeks pregnant, the doctors pretty much told me that the best advice would probably be to do away with the pregnancy.
My God.
Because at 17 and a half weeks, they could not visualize his spinal cord.
Wow.
So they felt he was going to come out and have an open back spina bifida. So I said to myself, my faith for one does not allow that. Secondly, I had
My God.
a miscarriage prior to that, but I wanted a child so bad.
Right.
But I said to myself, if God was so kind to me to have me get me pregnant,
Again.
why should I do away with it? Whatever he gives me is what I'm going to take.
My
And
God.
that was my whole belief, you know. And I started doing a lot of reading, and that's the first time I came across Jim Rohn's statement that says, what the mind of man can achieve, can conceive, and believe, it can achieve. That is when I started doing a lot of reading. And because I needed a place to take care of me.
Yeah,
so
like
I
a
could take
refuge,
care of-
a safety net, a haven.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I could take care of the children. And this is Keith today. I mean, honestly born with 5 pieces of gray hair, 6 fingers. I'm not talking a tiny little thumb. It was literally another thumb. I had to surgically get it removed. Dislocated left hip, 1 blue eye, 1 brown, deaf in the right ear, small foramen magnum, you name it.
Wow.
But this boy has just, I mean, gone blazed through the whole thing, beat all odds, and graduated from high school
I
last
mean, the
month.
boy just graduated.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I couldn't. It's like I was emotional.
Yeah.
When I saw those pictures, and I was like, I can't
Yeah.
wait for you to get here so we can just celebrate that moment. You know.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who are faced with that challenge.
Yeah.
You know, you're being given, you're being blessed with a child that comes with challenges.
Yes.
And most people, if you don't have the proper support system, you cannot cope with
Not
it.
at all. Not at all.
You as a person has to be mentally strong.
Absolutely.
Physically, like, I mean, you need like a support, your own support system
Yeah.
to be able to survive with that. I mean, going to the hospital. So it's one thing to deal with a child, and then to deal with them with challenges.
Challenges, yeah.
Wow.
I think we have been very blessed, and I'm sure you see my
By the way,
postings.
congratulations, Keith. I mean, you defy all the odds. We are so proud of
Absolutely.
you. Keep going out there. Keep being a trailblazer. You are a hero to so many.
Yes.
And many are looking up to you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, the one thing I learned from Keith is, why stress?
Right.
As long as he has food, Keith is good. The rest, anything else can fall in any other. And with his multiple surgeries, the doctors at AI DuPont in Wilmington, Delaware, fell in love with him. Because all he would ask, he could not be sedated prior to going to the OR. So Keith ended up, we had to buy him a toy dog because he could not have dogs around him because of allergies. So we had to buy him Richard, was his dog. He will get on a stretcher with him, and the nurse will have to get on that stretcher because I can take the stress of going in and seeing him, all this equipment, and he could not be sedated because he's so allergic to Versed. He does the opposite. Instead of making him sleepy, Keith could jump off the roof. Yeah. So he would literally go in and not have any of those sedatives. So it was very difficult for me to stand there and watch him go
Wait,
through
I mean,
that.
I'm just even trying to comprehend all of
Yeah.
that. Like, so he's
So-
not sedated, and he goes through it, through the surgery.
Well, sedation is prior to you going into the OR.
Okay,
they will
like
give
to calm you.
down and all of that. He cannot have that. So he would just go directly in and get his anesthesia that way.
Wow.
Yeah, and seeing it, and it was traumatizing for me. But I just kept believing.
Especially since you knew like all the
What-
processes, the protocol.
Yeah.
My God, but I just want to say, you know, kudos to you as a parent, you know, who is doing this stuff. And then you're in a foreign land where, you know, you talk a lot about, you reference a lot, you talk a lot about your father and your parents being like a support system. And you know, just the notion that I think like they may have been your source of inspiration, if I may interject, because I think
Yes.
that's what I picked up. Because you talk a lot, there are a lot of times where you would have moments of weakness, but when you think about the responsibility, is it the firstborn syndrome? Because I think you know, the first child usually has all that responsibility. You're always feeling like you're carrying the whole family on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
for any child to have you as a big sis, as the first child, I think it's such an honor.
Oh, thank
really.
you. Thank
You're
you.
a true example of what,
Yeah.
big sis is about,
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I do reference my parents a lot because I really truly love my parents, and I think they went far above and beyond the call of duty to take care of us as children. And of course, when I failed out at the University of Yaoundé, I felt very guilty because here am I, the first of 6 children. They're probably waiting for me to finish, get a job, and help them with raising the rest of the children, but I had embarrassed them. My father was a teacher for 50 years.
Wow.
In our culture, a teacher's child should not fail in anything.
Yeah, you're supposed to be the best at everything.
So I had just messed up big time. And,
well, in your mind.
In my mind.
Yeah, in your mind.
But of course, they stayed supportive. They wanted to make sure that I still achieved my goals. And they did. So my dad would eventually, when I moved to the U.S., he was hit by a drunk driver in February 11, 1996, right after February 11 activities back home. Came and parked his car going 2 blocks away from his house and get hit by a drunk driver and would end up in a coma for 8 months.
My God.
I'm in the sophomore year at Delaware State University. You can only imagine. I came to this country, I was 19 to Canada, 19, 22 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and just calling the house and nobody answers was traumatizing for me. But I thank God for my village. I keep saying my village because my support system spans out to so many different areas, so many groups, so many people. We could not have done it as parents. Mr. Gwanmesia and I could not have done it as parents without all the support network. And right from the beginning, I had a network of teachers that really supported me through the stress of not knowing what was happening to my father. Because once I finally got hold of them, my brother said, I don't think that he's going to make it. That's all I kept hearing in my head.
Wow.
And imagine if for anybody who is in nursing, taking a med-surg exam and just thinking about your parent, I was not stable. But my teachers really
I mean,
pulled
I understand
through.
because I personally went through that. I had a sick dad for many years.
Exactly.
It's like every phone call that comes through, it's just traumatizing. Like
Yes.
every time you see an unknown call, it's like I got
Exactly.
into
You're
a panic
panicking.
mode.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can truly relate to that story, that narrative. You talk about a cultural, like the village being your cultural support. For people, especially Africans, I think a lot of time we have that advantage where you come here and we still remain a close-knit community where you have some cultural ties, you have groups, affiliations, or alumni, colleges that you attended. So those things sort of keep you neatly connected to your roots.
Your roots,
Or
absolutely.
you at least don't forget home. And for those of us in this area, the DC area, we have everything. From all the ingredients that you need to make your local dishes. So you tend not to miss home.
Yeah.
But one thing that I wanted to bring, that I picked up, is you said you had good relationships with your teachers. So, and when you're in a smaller town, like, Delaware is much smaller than this, so
DC
I don't think you
area.
have a big community. When you're in smaller towns where, perhaps all your family is those teachers, and you end up building that good rapport, do you think that has contributed? Because I think there's a comment about your classrooms. They said a world of practice where you bring a fusion of culture and stuff into your classrooms.
Yeah.
So I think you've sort of integrated that element of building a village,
Building a village.
building a community, even your own classrooms, and perhaps the relationship with your teachers helped.
Yes.
In a way.
I would certainly agree with that because not only is it a smaller school, you have the advantage of more one-on-one with your teachers, and you also have to go look for mentorship.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that a lot of people shy away from it, and I believe it's part of our culture.
Right.
Especially when you find yourself in a smaller town where a lot of your people are not present. It might be different here in the DC area.
Right.
But seeking mentorship, going for what you want, and seeking help. Because I remember vividly this one particular teacher whom he had corrected my, it was a written assignment. And I saw all this red, blah, 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 blah. I was like, damn, what is this?
Too many red marks.
And I'm like, I think I thought I knew how to write English. Why does she have all of this? So I decided I was going to go to her and explain myself. Because I'm not going to accept this. Because I just don't think that it's that bad. So I went to her office and I sat down. I said, well, I have a concern and I just wanted us to have a moment to talk about it. Is this the right time? Da, da, da. She said, yeah, sure, sit down. So I pulled the paper out and I said, Dr. Such and Such, I do not agree with your comments. She said, well, why? I said, because I think I did a better job and I'm writing the Queen's English and you're writing the American English. She
Well, you are in America now. You are in America, so you must conform.
She could not believe I said that. I said, yeah, I don't agree with that. And truly, some of the spellings, I was writing it British, and this was one of my very few first assignments here. I'm getting used to multiple choice and type questions. And
yeah, we do essays.
We do essays.
Okay.
So I had to take the time to educate my teachers that I just was not dumb. Because the first thing that's going to come out of in their head, they have a perception. Your second English as English is
as a second
language and all of that. I wanted to make sure that she understood that I knew the English. It was just how I was brought up.
Right.
And I clarified that very clearly. And she regraded that paper, and I had a better grade on that
wow.
paper. So
communication
really,
was key there.
Communication is key, and also
and you made her aware
yeah.
of the difference as well.
Absolutely, because you have to use those moments as teaching moments.
Right.
Another example was a co-worker, an LPN lady that I work with in ICU, always rolled her eyes at me and said, what? And I got tired of her asking me what, because it's rude, you know that.
Right.
And one day she said again, I just held her by the arm. I said, come on here, let's go have a discussion. We went into the break room and we're talking. And I quickly realized she didn't even notice the fact that she was rolling her eyes and she was talking to me that way, and that I had perceived it as her being condescending. And she apologized. But if I had not done that, I would have lost a good teaching moment.
Right.
I taught her what our culture is, what it means to be respectful, and certain behaviors. Until today, we're best friends.
Wow.
Because if I had missed out on that opportunity, she would not have learned about my culture, and we would have missed out on our friendship.
My God.
So it's about taking opportunities and educating those that are in your circle.
It's because a lot of times when you have those cultural differences, it can be frustrating.
Absolutely.
And you don't even understand that the other person too may be frustrated by your difference. They're probably like, why can't you get me?
Yes.
Why don't you understand me? So both of you are coming from two frustrated points, and you're not helping one another. But so instead of, being frustrated, take that frustration and find a way to communicate it better so that we come up with a lesson. Right? So Cynthia, we see your comment. You say it's called nursing. It takes a village. There are many words. So guys, if you have any questions and you want to tune in or you want to dial into the studio, you can join us with the conversation. I'm talking to Dr. Eunice Gwanmesia. She's a life coach, nurse educator, public speaker, author, and we're also talking a little bit about her book, but more so about her experiences and her narrative. She has quite a diverse and interesting background and experiences in America. Everybody doesn't have the same story, but we can all learn from each other's story. She has a very interesting story that we're trying to tap into as a teachable moment for those of you who are listening. So if you want to join us, you can always dial the studio. We are live, so you can dial the studio on 301-429-9247. 301-429-9247. And by the way, if you're just watching, I need you to do us a favor. Go ahead and share. Share with your friends, tag someone, let them know that this is a conversation that they do not want to miss out on, right?
Absolutely.
So let me take you, I think one of the things that you're doing is you're a life coach.
Yes.
And you're a public speaker. So you're out in front of people a lot. So this is like your domain. This is your turf. How did you get into life coach? What did you think what's the difference? A lot of people say life coach, you're a life coach. What does it mean to be a life coach?
Well, as a life coach, you're really inspiring and supporting. If I may use the words of my friend who says, I am your GPS. Okay?
Yes.
And simply that means it's someone who is there willing to listen to you, to redirect you and guide you to go where you're going.
Right.
Because I posted something on Facebook today. You got to watch who is in your surroundings.
Absolutely. You do.
It is ultimately about your decision making.
Yes.
However, because we all can go through peer pressure. We're humans.
Right.
But sometimes your decision making is key. So a life coach helps to redirect you, to guide you, to mentor you, to tell you some of those things that you may not want to hear, but it's for your own good. So basically my role as the CEO of Dr. Eunice Consulting, the mentor, the life coach, the public speaker, is to inspire, to encourage and empower millions of people to reactivate their passion
Right.
through living life on purpose, so that they can eventually use the tools that they already have to become successful and live the
Absolutely.
lives of their dreams.
Exactly, because I think that it's in all of us, really.
Yeah.
You really have to tap into the inner you.
You have
and
to.
that's what a life coach does. They help you decipher or figure out where that talent is,
Exactly.
or where your strength really lies. Sometimes we are lost in a bubble. Life is so busy, you're going about, and then you wake up, it's like 2 years down the road, 3 years, and you're like, I can't keep track. I can't be accountable. You don't have anything to show for the time. And so coaches, what a coach would do is to help you, realign yourself, get refocused.
Yeah.
I know you're also, you're really an entrepreneur. You've done it all. You're an employee, you're an entrepreneur. You've done network marketing.
I know, right?
And you had your own nursing institute.
Agency
You
and
graduated. You graduated over 200 students, 230 students. From your own institution. I mean, you're truly certified for this. Your life experiences has positioned you for this job.
Awesome. Yes, I have, and it is truly an honor to say that some of those 230 CNAs are today nurses that I still work with at the bedside.
Wow.
Because one of the things that I tell people, despite all my degrees, I am still a nurse. I would get up and work at the bedside anytime, not because I have a PhD, I can shy away from the bedside. No. If we're sitting here, maybe in the mall, and somebody falls right there, I'll jump right on and do CPR or something. But a lot of people think that because you have a PhD, you have masters, you no longer touch patients or clean a patient if they had a bowel movement. Nope. I will still do it in a heartbeat.
What is the odds that the doctors take? I think there's something about you have to agree that you're always going to be, your first thing is the life of the patient. The life of the patient is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
So you're never your title.
No.
You're always your calling, your profession first before your title.
Absolutely.
So I like the fact that you're true to cause, because a lot of people are just there for the money. But when you say that, it tells me that you're truly in line with your purpose and calling.
Yeah. I honestly, a couple years ago, I had some challenges when I had the business. With the downturn in the economy, I had suddenly made some bad business decisions to move from a small building to a bigger one because I had dreams of expanding and doing more. But with the economy, I found myself using family money to run the business. That's not business savvy. So we had to close that down. But the lesson to that is, at that time, of course, other things are going to suffer. So in the meantime, while I'm trying to fund this business and do all of that, where was I? Teaching, but at night time still working at the hospital.
Wow.
Because I had to raise funds to do that. As an entrepreneur, one of the things you got to come to understand is that business you're trying to run is not going to come to fruition. First 2 to 5 years, you're struggling. So you still need your 9 to 5 to fund.
Don't we know that?
The business. Absolutely. So
and you really don't know a lot of times until you have tried it.
Yeah.
So you have to go there, you try it. Sometimes it's multiple failures is what teaches you the lessons. So until you're not scared of failing, you will never really truly understand what success is about.
Exactly.
You say you have to do it afraid. So don't be scared of failing. Because failure is what will present the opportunities for you and will propel you to the next level. So take the bold moves, guys. Take the bold moves. So, Dr. Eunice, why would you advise somebody to purchase this book, A Strategy That Can Influence Your Journey to Success? Right? What is the takeaway message when somebody picks up this book? What do you want them to remember? How can they find this book? How can they get access to it? Because I think there's a lot of information there that will benefit anyone who just picks up this book. If you're looking for inspiration, it's there. If you're looking for motivation, it's there. If you're looking for drive, vision, just different things. And I like the fact that there's another portion where you dedicate to like little tips. You give tips on how to navigate your way. So it's not just a story, but this. So why should they pick up this book?
Well, this book, I am so proud of it not because I wrote the book. I wish somebody had this book when I was going through my challenges. So the reasons you need to get this book is because, one, it's going to inspire you. Yes, I do share some tips in here. I also do have a formula which I call the 5P philosophy. That's a formula to success. 5 P's that I have actually used as my own roadmap to become successful. And these 5 P's are purpose, passion, patience, persistence, and perseverance. Your purpose, why? Your why, that's the reason why you get up daily to go do what you do.
Absolutely.
It is that thing that's going to make you go through a brick wall or jump down a cliff, as one of my mentors always say, without even knowing you just did that. Look at my son who just shared his story.
Right.
What if I had an abortion?
My God.
Where would I be? What if I had not gone to apply for my CNA job at this hospital? Would I be talking to you today? No. So your purpose gives you the desire to keep going, despite the challenges, because you have something unique in you.
There will always be challenges.
Don't let fear cripple you. And I think if you buy this book, each time you feel down, read a couple pages. There's tips in there. There's talk about the seminars and workshops that we offer. But knowing that this little girl from the cornfields of Africa wrote this book, and if I could do it coming from an underprivileged country, if I may use those terms, what more of you?
Exactly.
What more of you? Through this, you can find this book on Amazon. You could also find it on my website. It's www.eunicegwanmesia.com. You could get it that way.
Yes.
I also carry books at home. If you're in Delaware, I'm just a phone call away. So from me directly, from my website, or from Amazon. But it is a book that will teach you, basically talking about how to adapt in a new culture, what to do, what not to do, where to go to get things done. You got it right here in this book.
You heard it right from the horse's mouth. You heard it from her. Where to find the book. Follow her on social media. She's available to speak mentor. She's also available for speaking engagements, guys. So like I said, the book is really a good read. I recommend it. I have read it myself. And I think that, I am definitely glad I have it in my collection. And I would recommend that you have one in your collection. Let me... I wanted to ask you a question. In today's society, in America today, Donald Trump, they're sending away immigrants, they're separating families from one another. What is really, because we're culturally different. I saw some pictures that were that really were emotional to me. Think about yourself, like when you came here, you've been to like 2 countries where you moved, you relocated to. I'm not talking about countries that you visited, that you relocated to go start life. You were in Canada. And then got there, you got good reception. You came to America, you were well received. You had opportunities that were presented to you. But look about somebody else's dream. They managed to get here because they are believing in that dream. And then look at the way they're being treated. Look at the children, though, the innocent children. What are your thoughts? Do you have anything to share about that? I just thought that we're talking cultural awareness. And imagine if you were in that position.
That is an excellent question, and that's what's happening. But unfortunately, these poor children are innocent, like you said. It breaks my heart to see kids. I think I was watching something on Facebook the other day, and these kids are standing in a small, tiny corner.
Right.
These kids cannot even speak for themselves.
They can't.
So how does the president of the biggest, most prestigious country in the whole wide world think that we're just going to separate kids from their mothers who are they're supposed to nurture these kids, direct them, take care of them, feed them, into the hands of legal authorities that could care less? And even if they're feeding them, it's not the same environment.
It's not nurturing. It's
mental torture.
They're just giving them a shelter, which I wouldn't even call it shelter. They're really in jail.
They're in jail.
They're in jail because they're sleeping on floors. They're not even using good blankets. I'm just thinking, cultural awareness, that just because you speak a different language with someone, just because you are raised differently, just because you come from an upscale background, or the other person grew up in the farms and you grew up in the city, doesn't give you the right to think that you're better, though.
No,
because it's really how you finish. A lot of people had a good head start in life. And maybe you can talk about that a little bit, where it really doesn't matter where you were born. It's really more about the drive in you. A lot of people started off on you would say on a disadvantage, but they're finishing strong. And you are an example of that. You came from a place where someone would have said you are not positioned for that strong finish. But here you are, through your drive, through your persistence, you push through, and you have overcome the people who probably had an equal start, a fairer start to begin with.
Yes. Actually, it's good you say that, because I strongly believe that when you get to your dreams does not matter so much. What matters is the fact that you stay focused.
Right.
through your roadblocks, through your challenges, because the best thing, the victory, is when you finally get there. Because it's not a get quick rich scheme, as they say in network marketing.
It's not.
You have to do a lot of work. Success is action plus commitment.
Right.
So you have to keep going at it despite your challenges. Yes, you got to stop sometimes and rearrange, reevaluate your situation. What do you really want your future self to be? What are you doing right now that is not helping propel you toward that goal? Do you have friends that you should not have around? Are you prioritizing some of your actions? Those, I'm not saying go out and kick your friends out. That's not what I'm saying. But your friends have to bring value to the table.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to do, you stay focused.
But you know,
before you get
sometimes
there.
it's easy to say those things, but I think you also have to be in the mindset of you're desiring change.
desiring change.
Until you are at that space where you're desiring change, you're not going to make the moves. You must want better,
For
you must
yourself.
desire better, and then I think life will begin to position things for you to align you in the right path. But you have to want it though.
Exactly.
It's like they say you can take a horse to the stream. If it's not thirsty,
make
it's
it
not
drink.
gonna. You can make it drink.
Yep.
So you must want to drink of the water from the
Exactly.
stream, so
Exactly.
that when you find yourself there, you will take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
You have to be hungry enough. You have to want change, because that change must begin with you. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
Right.
You have to have the desire. Why do you get up every day? Is it because of your kids? You know, when you leave your home, you're constantly thinking about your kids.
Right.
But if you don't go out, how are they going to wear clothing? How are they going to eat? How are they going to go to school? So you have to do that. So my heart truly goes out to these parents that have now lost their kids.
Man.
The mental torture, the post-traumatic stress disorder that these kids will grow up to have.
Exactly.
It's just unbelievable. But we just have to continue to pray. And that's one of the things that Dr. Eunice Consulting is really going on, is to encourage and build organizations so that they can develop, promote, and support diversity and inclusion, to build up the teamwork and productivity so that they can ultimately have better customer outcomes.
Absolutely.
Because
So
if we do
key.
not start in our circles and in organizations, your employer is still going to think, oh yeah, Diane is from Cameroon, it's a third world country, she has an accent, they can do as well as somebody else. Only it will take us to educate and have change, because just having policies and procedures doesn't change life.
Yeah,
It
we have,
takes the
everybody
humans
has to
do it.
partake in the process and to understand. So it's not just you who is coming as an outsider. Even those from within have to understand that those who are coming from outside equally bring value to the table.
Yeah.
And that they have value. Everybody has some kind of value. If you just allow yourself to be humble enough, if you just allow yourself to embrace the diversity, we would stand to benefit more from one another.
Yeah.
Right? I know you were talking about clothing and stuff. Let me take you a little bit off it. We're talking culture here. I see you're wearing a beautiful outfit here. I had to talk about that. Beautiful representation, of this outfit here. Speaking to the culture, and even on the cover of the book, you are speaking to your culture, your cultural message there, which is key. What do you think that, is it a statement thing? Are you making a statement when you wear that? I think it says something. What is your message when you proudly wear your African culture?
Awesome. You know what? This is me. This is my identity. This is who I was born as. So I will always be me.
Right.
So when I wear my African regalia, it reminds me of who I am and where I'm going.
Like you're not lost to
I'm
this
not
culture.
lost, not at all. I got to build my legacy, and my legacy has to be cultural identity. So that my kids growing up know where their parents came from, so that people that I come in their midst, and my students will tell you this from Delaware State University, 13 years that I taught in that institution, I dress to teach in my African attire.
Nice.
Because I get a sense of pride when I have it on. It's not like just wearing any other clothing. It speaks for itself.
So sometimes you're reminded of, wow, look at how far I've come.
Yes.
Like this girl who came has overcome a lot of the obstacles that presented themselves your way. And you're in this platform doing just the things that you desire.
Yep.
You're teaching just like your father. You took over the baton from him as a lecturer.
Absolutely.
And now you're doing the same. So yeah, I can see the pride really oozing out of you. It's like we got this big glow from her when we talked about culture. It's like, woo, we're finally talking about this thing that I really love the most.
And Daddy and I still compete till today. He tells me I'm still a better teacher. I say, no, Daddy, you're not.
Are you serious?
Yeah. As much as he's here with me, and honestly, I have to give a shout out to my dad because he's been very sick, and that's why I had to leave Delaware State University since December of 2015. He got emergency surgery that he did not do so well, but thank God he made a 360-degree turn.
Amen.
But he's with me, so I'm paying back the time that I was not able to help my mom when he first had his accident back in 1996. So I am proud and honored to say, Daddy, I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm just happy to be able to take care of you.
She's a daddy's girl. That's a daddy's girl right there. That's a daddy's girl. But talking about let me just throw a random question. Today we had the famous movie that came out, was it earlier this year? And Black Panther. And then the frenzy of African regalia,
I know, right?
was born. Like, not to say that's the first time where it's being promoted, but it's like suddenly everybody from all cultures were embracing it. Did that speak? Did that minister to you in any way? Did it make you feel good, feel proud about the fact that suddenly there's this awareness? I mean, people have different perspective on that, but what do you have to say about that, since we're talking inclusion?
I actually watched the movie, which it was awesome. Right. They did a great job. But from the point of people now wanting to wear African outfits, I get mixed feelings with that. Because why did it have to take such a long time for most, I guess, people of color, African Americans, to identify where their culture really came from? So it is a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time. But I hope that this will just keep moving us forward. Because if we can take that into our communities and be better to each other and treat each other with some cultural sensitivity, then we're talking. It's got to pass beyond just clothing.
I think that I like the fact that you said there are two perspectives of looking at it. There's a moment where you're like, wow, this is cool. Everybody's wanting this. But there's also that point where I think some people have always associated Africa with shame and pride, like shame where you're like, I'm embarrassed about these people. They're not up to par. They're not presented as these great people. So because you're not hearing all these great things, the association is not really there. You're not trying to affiliate. But now this story is suddenly presented, brought out this good story of Africa, brought out this great narrative, and people were like, yeah, if it's, it looks great, and I want to tap into that. Who doesn't want to tap into something good?
Exactly.
I think people like to tap into positive energy.
Absolutely.
And that's part of your message too. You're saying, if you have bad friends, dissociate. It's the same thing, I would say. The downside though, in spite of all the Black history lessons being taught, in spite of all the civil rights movements, you would have thought that those things would have
come earlier.
Precipitated that move. But we are glad that we are in a time and space where things are happening to evolve. So as we head to the close, I can't believe that we've already done almost an hour. Guys, if you were just joining, I hope you did share. I hope you did tag someone. I'm talking with Dr. Eunice Gwanmesia. She's a life coach, nurse, educator, public speaker, author of a very great book that we talked a little bit about. You can get your copy. And I just want you to share some messages, anything that you feel you want to leave this audience with. I know you're always out there talking and empowering people, helping lives, women, children. I mean, you cover it all. Okay. So what are some of the key things that you want to make sure that we don't forget?
Okay. Well, one of the things that I would really, really like to say is this. You watching this today, you are an inspiration yourself. Let me steal the words of Michelangelo, who once said, in every brick of stone, there is a statue. It is up to the work of the sculptor to determine how that statue is going to come out. Let me tell you, you're a breathtaking piece of artwork. Let me help you discover your statue inside you. Wow. Because you have a specific talent that you have yet to tap into it.
My God.
Let Dr. Eunice Consulting work with you to help you reactivate and uncover that statue that is in you so that you can live life on purpose, become successful, and ultimately live the life of your dreams. As well as organizations, let us help you develop promote, and support diversity and inclusion in your institutions, so that you can have increased team morale, increased productivity, and ultimately patient outcomes for healthcare organizations and customer satisfaction, as well as customer outcomes for other organizations. We are here at your service. Let us help you. Thank you so much.
Girl, did she close out or did she close out? You can tell she's a speaker, right? You can tell she's done this. You know when they say, do you have your 5 minutes elevator, your 2 minutes elevator speech? If you were to run into an elevator with the person you've been dreaming of, who's your role model, by the way? Who is the person that's on your vision board that you always envision? Like, if for me, I'm always looking up to Oprah. Like, I can't wait the day I get to meet Oprah. So it's like, what is your 5 minute, your 1 minute pitch? You know, if I were to run into Obama today, what do I get to tell him? Exactly. It's one thing to get excited. Woo, I just met you, but what do you want him to remember about you? That is the closing thing. It's like, she has her speech down packed. That's what you call preparedness, right? So I'm asking you today, what is your closing speech? What is that one thing that if you met the person that, you know, opportunity presented itself, how can you tap into it? How can you take advantage of it? Guys, in life, there will be challenges. In life, there will always be obstacles. There will always be the ups and downs. But what I've learned from her story is that you must push through every obstacle. There's times where you take a few minutes to grieve. If you can mute it, because... Yeah, there are times where you need to reflect on those things. There are times where you're going through an obstacle. You may have to step back, pause, take a few moments, and maybe grieve over the situation. But you cannot dwell on it because life continues to go on. Life is truly for the living and about the living. Anytime you pause, you actually stop your own story, you stop your own narrative. But nobody is sitting there. Everybody continues though. Remember, if you step out of your job today, that company continues. So never think you're indispensable. Absolutely. Really, never think you're indispensable. Always think that you're bringing value, and if you leave, there's always going to be a replacement. So when you're on that clock, when you're on that watch, make sure that you're effective, you're productive, and leave good footprints.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me get a one finish line, one positive message that you want people to take home with. You know, as I think about the motivational speaker that I have in front of me, you know, right here, you know, I want to hear I want to pick up my own nuggets as well. You know, I want my own tips.
You know, she inspires me. She doesn't even know that. She truly, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because you have gone far and beyond, above and beyond, to help small business owners, immigrants who are struggling to build businesses. Just by doing this show, it means a whole lot. You're building a village. You're starting your own village. I know you have greater things coming, and I just wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you
so
much.
If you can support her mission, ladies and gentlemen, please do so, because we all can benefit from her platform. So let us be one another's, what do you say? Keeper and watchdog and what have you. But together, we're more than one. So let's take care of each other. And I'm at your dispense. You need a speaker, you need a conference, a moderator, a panelist, keynote speech. I am available.
All right, that's your doctor for you right there. I thank you so much, guys, for watching and tuning in today. But make sure you share this episode. It was a brilliant episode. I really enjoyed the conversation that I had with Dr. Eunice here. Michelle, I see all of you, Masterpiece, all the people who joined. I see all of you, Rick. I see Latasha. Cynthia, we didn't get a chance to respond. People really didn't ask a lot of comments. Somebody said, "What were your next moves?" I don't know if we didn't really have time to take that. But your next moves in 1 second, maybe. What is it?
Well, my next move is stay tuned. I have a big announcement to make within the next few weeks, and like I said, we're focusing on speeches, but stay plugged in. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. We're coming live with that, and there's a bigger announcement coming up soon. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about it tonight.
That's fine.
But stay tuned and continue to follow me, and I appreciate your support, because it truly takes a village to raise a child. And I'm that child you're raising. All right now. Yeah. Amen. I love that. Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, I want to thank my sponsors, the people who continue to help to make this show happen, you know, who put us in business and put us on air. I want to thank you so much for supporting Patch Up Foundation, Dr. J. Couture, Fit Mom Fix,
You know, those are the few sponsors. All is Well Foundation. We want to thank you so much for continuing to sponsor. Guys, we're looking for sponsors. We're looking for advertisers to be on air, to continue to bring you the best from the diaspora, from the continent that we have. You need to support this venture. You have to support us to stay on air and continue to bring these great conversations to you.
Awesome.
All we do is engage people in thought-provoking conversations, and today we really had a good dialogue. I hope that you continue to stay tuned, stay plugged in. Follow us on dDTalksmedia.com. We are also on YouTube as dDTalks Media, on Facebook dDTalks Motivates, dDTalks Media Motivates, on Instagram dDTalks. So any kind of dDTalks,
yeah,
we are there. Follow us live, and I look forward to always having these beautiful conversations with you, Dr. Eunice. What a pleasure to have had you here with us.
Honor.
And guys, before I leave, I always like to sign off by telling you this. If no one has told you that they love you, guess who loves you? It's your girl, Diane. Didi, I love you, and I love you passionately with the love of God. Stay tuned and keep watching. Stay plugged in. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Awesome, guys.
Awesome.
Stay blessed now. Go ahead and share. Oh my God, this is one. Yes, mommy.